Let our hearts not be hardened. To those living on the margins, there is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. Too long we have wandered, burdened and undone, but there is room at the table for everyone. Let us sing the new world in. This is how it all begins. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, there is room at the table for everyone. Here and now we can be the beloved community. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. Let our hearts not be hardened. To those living on the margins, there is room at the table for everyone. This is how we gather in. For everyone.
Welcome to the Sunday morning service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. We are located on the lands of the Chichimeca, Otomi, and Nawa peoples, but today via Zoom we make community with people from near and far. We are a loving community where you can bring your whole self, your full identity, explore your evolving beliefs, and share in fellowship. My name is Kathy Canepa, and I'm a member of the Sunday Service Committee and the Committee on Ministry, and it's my privilege to be our service leader today. And I am delighted to have as our speaker Samantha Silva, Director of Caminamos Juntos. Couple of announcements. The fellowship is pleased to sponsor the second seminar on our Zoom series on charitable giving this coming Wednesday at 1 p.m. SMA time. It's entitled How to Make Charitable Contributions of Mexican Property. The presenter will be Ian Clement, a well-known local attorney, and his talk will provide practical estate planning information and tax-saving techniques, regardless of your income or wealth level. If you're thinking about donating Mexican property in support of this fellowship or other meaningful causes, I encourage you to attend. For more information, please see the announcement in our order of service and in tomorrow's newsletter. Also, you can learn more about what's going on in this fellowship and how you can take part in our many small group discussions or attend committee meeting or board meetings by going to UUFSMA.org. After the service, please stay connected and you will be assigned to a breakout room. If there are only a few people in your room, just sit tight and you will be reassigned to a room with more people. You have to accept the assignment, or, and especially if you're new, stay in the main room to chat with members of our visitor and membership team. And now we go to Dr. Bonnie McDowell, who will give us the COVID report.
Good morning. I'm Bonnie McDowell, a member of the Fellowships Board and of our COVID-19 Task Force. I add my welcome to all of you joining us today. As you likely know, our SMA community is having a resurgence of COVID-19. Reports from Joey Merrifield and her contacts in the local public health system indicate a steep increase in cases over the past week. This should not really be surprising, given that many precautions about social gathering have been relaxed, despite the large number who remain unvaccinated here. Unvaccinated people are still at high risk of serious illness, and that hasn't changed over the past year. The problem is compounded by the new virus variants, particularly the Delta, which spreads more easily than the original version of the virus. So if you've been vaccinated, what is there to worry about? The vaccines do an excellent job preventing serious illness, hospitalization, and death. But vaccinated people can and do still catch COVID, especially the Delta variant. Even a mild case is concerning because you could spread it to others, especially the unvaccinated folks around you. You could also get long COVID, a persistence of symptoms lasting for many months. So what can we, as part of the SMA community, do? We can be more mindful of the levels of risk we take, both to protect ourselves and to protect the community at large. The pandemic will not be over until our entire community is protected. I know many of you have already made changes in your activities and protective behaviors to feel safer. Please don't hesitate to wear a mask in any situation which concerns you. Please continue to think carefully about every social interaction you have planned. Indoor gatherings, concerts, movies, parties are higher risk, especially if there might be a mix of vaccinated and unvaccinated people. In restaurants and stores, you likely interact with staff who are not vaccinated yet. How carefully are you protecting them? It's also important to be aware that the symptoms of a new COVID infection now are a bit different than they were a year ago. Many cases will just seem like a bad cold, with a runny nose, sore throat, cough, headache, maybe fever. If you or anyone you know has these symptoms, the best plan is to isolate and get tested for COVID. See the chat box for testing information and please share it. Yes, it might just be a cold or allergies, but it might be COVID, and we don't want to let it spread. Hopefully, many more of our fellow San Miguelenses will be vaccinated soon, and this surge will pass. In the meantime, we can all do our best to keep San Miguel healthy. Stay safe, my friends. And now we go to our chalice lighting with Caterina Adero Sedona and Ellington Barron.
Hi guys, it's been a while since we've seen you. And we're super excited to be lighting the chalice today. Adero, you want to go ahead? We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. We are the fellowship of the, you guys remember what it is? Open mind. We are the fellowship of the helping hands. We are the fellowship of the loving heart. Together we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in our world.
So good to see the children. And now our opening words, first from Carl Sagan. Up there in the immensity of the cosmos, an inescapable perception awaits us. National boundaries are not evident when we view the Earth from space. Fanatical, ethnic, religious, or national chauvinisms are a little difficult to maintain when we see our planet as a fragile blue crescent fading to an inconspicuous point of light against the bastion and citadel of the stars. And from the Unitarian Universalist Society of Spain, we invoke the presence of love in our hearts, to share it today among us and then spread it to the world. Therefore, let nobody feel a stranger in this circle, and may all feel welcome. Invocamos la presencia del amor en nuestros corazones para compartirlo hoy entre nosotros y propagarlo después al mundo. Así pues, que nadie se sienta extraño en este círculo y que todos sean bienvenidos. And now, please join in singing De Colores.
Canta el gallo con el Good morning. I'm Dan Newspiel, your fellowship's president. Please join me and Diego in reading our spoken covenant, which should appear on your screen. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Good morning. My name is Françoise Johallen, and I am the co-chair of your care team. This is a very special moment in our service when we share our joys and concern. If you have a joy or concern you want to share with us today, please post it in the chat box. And in the future, you may email them to Tom Rosiello. After each joy or concern, I will place a candle in this bowl of water. Our prayers and warm wishes to our dear friend Jürgen Allers, who fell down the concrete steps in front of his house on Friday when his dog got frightened and made him lose his balance. He's very lucky that he has no broken bones, but several stitches on his head and a very sore body. This is for you, Jürgen, hoping you recover very soon. From Cynthia Klaus. For those who remember Sandy Brooks, I spoke to her at length yesterday, and she's back at home doing well with a 24/7 home health aide after having an aortic valve replacement and 4 days afterwards in the hospital. She would love to hear from her longtime UUFSMA friends. Cynthia will put her email address and phone number in the chat box. This is for Sandy. Our very best wishes to John Wolf, who has found an apartment she loves and will be moving tomorrow. We wish her a time of peace and healing. Here's for you, John. A candle of concern to my friends in Cuba and all the Cuban people who are trying to survive while suffering from a lack of food and medicine. And the last candle for the joys and concern that are deep in our hearts, but have remained unspoken. Now to Kathy, who will lead us in a meditation and aspiration.
Everybody, please get comfortable in your seat. Take a breath in and out as we listen. Pima Chodron tells us this story. A young woman wrote about finding herself in a town in the Middle East, surrounded by people jeering and yelling and threatening to throw stones at her because her friends and she were Americans. Of course, she was terrified, but what happened to her is important. Suddenly, she identified with every person throughout history who had been scorned and hated. She understood what it was like to be despised for any reason, ethnic group, racial background, sexual preference, gender. Something cracked wide open in her, and she stood in the shoes of millions of oppressed people and saw with a new perspective. She even understood her shared humanity with those who hated her. This sense of deep connection of belonging to the same family is the awakening of the heart of compassion. Let's take a few moments to reflect. And now to Katerina Baron for our offering.
Hi, everyone. Katerina here again. I am honored to be sharing with you about the organization Niños con Autismo today for the offering, because you guys know a lot about a big part of my story, which is how we ended up in Mexico, Jesus getting deported. But something you might not know about me is that I grew up with a sister with special needs. And I spent a lot of time at Special Olympics events and working with children who are on the spectrum or with cognitive disabilities and children with Down syndrome. And this was a huge part of my life growing up, and it's very near and dear to my heart. And I can't wait to share about this organization with you. So as a fellowship, we are dedicated to supporting each other and the surrounding communities. One way we are doing this is by supporting Niños con Autismo. Niños con Autismo continues to be challenged with the restrictions on their capacity. Currently, they are only able to treat one child at a time, since there is a limit of 4 people in the center at one time. There are alternative locations that have been identified for treatment, including an outdoor space. Outreach efforts through radio SMA, Facebook, networking with doctors, and referrals from other parents has resulted in a significant increase in evaluations, which includes testing and interviews with parents, and where possible, interviews with the child. They are grateful for their association with Patronato Pro Niños, as the organization has identified and referred several children who are on the spectrum. The organization is seeing more children and young adults in 2 age ranges. First, young children from 2 to age 5. And this is especially important because early intervention is really necessary to have a high quality of life when you are on the spectrum. And it gives them a greater chance of developing skills that they are needed for a more productive life and a healthier home environment. The second group is adolescents and young adults. These young men need socialization skills and eventually job training. This job skills program has just begun and will take some time to develop. Ultimately, it is anticipated that it will allow the young men to develop sufficient skills to earn a living. This development is exciting, as Niños con Autismo recognize this program as the next step in the mission of the organization. They are grateful for the collaboration and with the School of Special Education. Niños con Autismo is thankful for the support of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. As we listen to this beautiful music, please give generously, and instructions on how to donate will appear. Clearly, I'm a professional at this. Will appear on the screen shortly. Thank you so much.
De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we vivimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
I first met Samantha Silva 3 years ago as Caminamos Juntos was being launched and we were receiving our first participants, Mexican nationals who had been deported from the United States and often their families accompanying. I was one of many, many UUs who were volunteering to give birth to CJ and then as it was finding its way. I was struck by Samantha's warmth, caring, deep sensitive respect for those arriving, as well as staff. With Sam's leadership, CJ has grown and adapted many times and become part of multiple networks across Mexico and the US, offering assistance to migrants. Please welcome Samantha as she and I read And Then by Judy Chicago. And then all that has divided us will merge.
And then compassion will be weathered to power.
And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind.
And then both men and women will be gentle.
And then both women and men will be strong.
And then no person will be subject to another's will.
And then all will be rich and free and varied.
And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many.
And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance.
And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old.
And then all will nourish the young.
And then all will share his life's creatures.
And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth.
And then everywhere will be called Eden once again. Good morning, everyone. I feel very honored to have the opportunity to share with you today my vision of what it means to build a community that provides integration opportunities for everyone. My name is Samantha, and I'm the Director of Caminamos Juntos, often referred to as CJ. Some of you know about Caminamos Juntos because you were an essential part of the birth of this wonderful project. Thank you for your dedication to this vision. This organization for me is the most tangible resource a community can create, because from the beginning, CJ has been about connecting, caring, improving, and building together. We would not have been able to walk together down this path without you. For those of you who never heard about us, Caminamos Juntos is a nonprofit in San Miguel de Allende that provides support to deported Mexicans and their families who are struggling with the impacts of deportation and who do not have a strong local support network here in Mexico. We do this by implementing different types of programming to assist in the integration and reintegration into the community of San Miguel de Allende. Our programs include services that help participants access education, personal and professional development opportunities, and mental health supports. We strive to meet the specific needs of each of our participants and pride ourselves in the ability to adapt. For those of us at Caminamos Juntos, working with families that have been deported has given us a different perspective about the deep effects of deportation, as well as the importance that our community can play in the experience of these families as they adjust to their new situation and surroundings. Even before arriving to Mexico, these families experience financial, psychological, and emotional hardships, many of which are directly related to their undocumented status. Those who choose to keep the family together by settling in Mexico are uprooted, losing proximity to family and friends, access to their property, and professional opportunities that they trained for in the United States. Once they move abroad, they face cultural and language barriers. Also, against common belief, it is not just the family member that is dealing with the trauma of deportation. Each family member faces their own obstacles when relocating to Mexico. Once they arrive to Mexico, there are no clear resources for these families. And in the world of migration, no two experiences are alike. Each family and individual have their own needs. Obtaining legal documentation is difficult, language barriers stand in the way of job, education and social opportunities, and the local community has stigmas that often are challenging to overcome. Many of these families without resources could be unable to access a stable community and are at risk of becoming part of a forgotten group. A community is important because it gives you backup, helps you to connect resources, and makes you feel part of something that is bigger than yourself. So based on this understanding, the question we ask ourselves should not be if a community is needed, but more so, how do we create the best possible community in San Miguel for both people who are entering it and those who already live here? Within the perspective of social transformation lies the conviction that individuals, institutions, and communities are the three indispensable actors for the organization and progress of society. Well, I think the only way to bring those three together is with a constant exercise of reflection of the relationship that glues them together. Think about it in a mind, soul, body relationship. Taking care of our bodies help us to maintain a healthy, clear mind and awareness, and becoming more aware of our soul help us to cultivate greater awareness in our lives that allow us to be liberated from all the mental layers. Community relationships are multifaceted. Just as our mind, body, soul relationships, they feed multiple parts of us, and we cannot feel fulfilled without nurturing the multiple aspects of them. Again, mind, body, soul, individuals, institutions, and communities. At CJ, we refer to community as the support and sense of belonging we all need when arriving to a new place. We address community needs through different angles so as to create more opportunities for our participants to establish community within San Miguel de Allende. We look to address physical, psychological, social, and economic health because we know that all of those needs impacts a family's ability to integrate into their surroundings. And we will not be able to do this work without including in our team people whose lives have been affected by deportation. We believe it is essential to listen to their stories and their challenges. I would like to share with you one of many stories. Claudio is currently 51 years old. He migrated to the United States when he was 11 with his mother. There he completed middle school and part of high school. He did not finish his education because his family needed him to start working. His first job was a painting company, and later he joined a construction company where he learned different vocational skills. So in 2005, he was able to open a small construction company of his own. His company was successful and well respected in the community. In 2014, he was able to open an antique store, which allowed him to continue to expand his professional scope and serve his community in multiple capacities. Claudio was able to start the process for his green card and was granted it. But in 2017, when he was in the process of renewing it, he was stopped for a traffic violation. Abruptly, he was denied due process and immediately deported to Mexico. Arriving to San Miguel de Allende, Claudio was completely alone. His support system was entirely based in the US and he didn't know how to start over. So Claudio reached out to Caminamos Juntos and we were able to connect him to an immigration lawyer for legal orientation, which allowed him to understand his legal status in the US. Also, we helped him to obtain his high school diploma and connect him to government programs to support his entrepreneurial project. Through this process, Claudio was able to acquire the building blocks to restart his life in Mexico. Claudio has overcome many challenges, but he has also found support in his journey through his new community. Recently, he has found ways to get involved and give back. This year, Claudio was named representative for his rural community, and he has been applying practices he learned in the US to improve local environment problems that his community faces. Claudio is a perfect example of someone who wants to work on making a community stronger. He has had to adapt new surroundings and embrace this new context in order to make that happen. As member of this community, we have the responsibility to create more inclusive and adaptable San Miguel. We need to push for growth individually, institutionally, and communally in order to truly welcome and integrate new members into San Miguel. I would like to read a poem to you in Spanish that for some people describes the decision of migration. Nadie abandona su hogar a menos que su hogar sea la boca de un tiburón. Solo corres hacia la frontera cuando ves toda la ciudad también lo hace. Tus vecinos corriendo más deprisa que tú, con aliento de sangre en sus gargantas. El niño con el que fuiste a la escuela, que te besó hasta el vértigo detrás de la fábrica, sostiene un arma más grande que su cuerpo. Solo abandonas tu hogar cuando tu hogar no te permite quedarte. Nadie deja su hogar a menos que su hogar lo persiga. Fuego bajo los pies, sangre hirviendo en el vientre. Jamás pensaste en hacer algo así hasta que sentiste el hierro ardiente amenazar tu cuello. Pero incluso entonces cargaste con el himno bajo tu aliento. Rompiste tu pasaporte en los lavabos del aeropuerto, sollozando mientras cada pedazo de papel te hacía ver que jamás volverías. Tienes que entender que nadie sube a sus hijos a una patera, al menos que el agua sea más segura que la tierra. Nadie abraza las palmas de sus manos bajo los trenes, bajo los vagones. Nadie pasa días y noches enteras en el estómago de un camión alimentándose de hojas de periódico, a menos que los kilómetros recorridos signifiquen algo más que un simple viaje. Nadie se arrastra bajo las verjas. Nadie quiere recibir los golpes ni dar lástima. Nadie escoge los campos de refugiados o el dolor que reviste en tu cuerpo desnudo. Nadie elige la prisión, pero la prisión es más segura que una ciudad en llamas. Y un carcelero en la noche es preferible a un camión cargado de hombres con el aspecto de tu padre. Nadie podría soportarlo, nadie tendría las agallas, nadie tiene la piel suficientemente dura. Los váyanse a casa negros, refugiados, sucios inmigrantes, buscadores de asilos, quieren robarnos lo que es nuestro, negros pedigüeños, huelen raros, salvajes, destrozaron su país y ahora quieren destrozar el nuestro. ¿Cómo puedes soportar las palabras, las miradas sucias? Quizá puedas, porque estos golpes son más suaves que el dolor de un miembro arrancado. Quizá puedas porque estas palabras son más delicadas que 14 hombres entre tus piernas. Quizá porque los insultos son más fáciles de tragar que el escombro, que los huesos, que tu cuerpo de niña despedazado. Quiero irme a casa, pero mi casa es la boca de un tiburón. Mi casa es un barril de pólvora y nadie dejaría su casa a menos que su casa le persiguiera hasta la costa, a menos que tu casa te dijera que aprietes el paso, que dejes atrás tus ropas, que te arrastres por el desierto, que navegues por los océanos. Naufraga, sálvate, pasa hambre, suplica, olvida el orgullo. Tu vida es más importante. Nadie deja su hogar hasta que su hogar se convierta en una voz sudorosa en tu oído diciendo, vete, corre lejos de mí ahora. No sé en qué momento me he convertido, pero sé que cualquier lugar es más seguro que este. And now, rather than continuing myself, I'd like to give an opportunity to someone who has had to relocate to Mexico to tell you her story.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Karen Salgado, soy de nacionalidad hondureña. Hace 5 años me fui a Estados Unidos a trabajar, ya que estábamos pasando pues una situación económica en mi país bastante difícil. Me fui a Estados Unidos a trabajar para poder salir de esas pues deudas económicas que tenía. En un inicio, pues mi idea era únicamente quedarme por 2 años mientras saldaba esas deudas. Pero por vueltas de la vida conocí al que ahora es mi esposo, me enamoré y nos casamos allá. Y poco tiempo después quedé embarazada y eso hizo que mi estancia en Estados Unidos pues se prolongara un poco más. En ese tiempo yo tenía, había transcurrido el tiempo y deportaron a mi esposo debido a que comenzó la pandemia. Nosotros trabajábamos en el campo y por la pandemia pues nos quedamos sin empleo, no podíamos pagar la renta y él tuvo que irse a trabajar pues más cerca de la frontera. Nosotros vivíamos en Shafter, California, y él tuvo que irse a trabajar a San Diego, California también. Y en ese momento, cuando él iba de regreso a casa, pues se encontró con un retén policial y ahí fue detenido para deportación. En ese momento mi hijo tenía 7 meses, yo no estaba trabajando. Fue un momento sumamente difícil eh, porque lo que consultamos con el abogado, teníamos que pagar $25,000 de multa y él iba a estar pues detenido mientras se siguiera el proceso. Fue una decisión sumamente difícil porque, ¿qué hacíamos? Yo estaba sin trabajar, tenía un niño pequeño y teníamos que decidir qué hacer si yo me quedaba sola ya. Entonces él pues decidió firmar su deportación y fue casi de inmediato. Él firmó por la tarde y en la noche ya lo habían retornado para Mexicali. En ese momento también pues tomamos la decisión de que yo iba a regresar. Ya había dejado a mi familia en Honduras y que me iba a quedar haciendo en Estados Unidos sin trabajo y con un bebé. Pensando que retornar a México iba a ser un poco más fácil porque para mí por la barrera del idioma y porque mi esposo es mexicano y pensamos que iba a ser un poco más fácil la vida empezando a trabajar allá. Cuando venimos aquí a México nos dimos cuenta que la situación no, no fue tan fácil. Primero porque no sabíamos toda la documentación que teníamos que traer para poderlo hacer. Yo como extranjera, mi bebé como americano y mi esposo pues tenía 18 años de no vivir en Estados Unidos y no tenía documentación, no tenía INE, no tenía ninguna documentación. Estuvimos, cuando mi esposo vino, lo pasaron para México, se fue para el Estado de México donde él nació con su familia y al mes y medio pues yo retorné también. Estuvimos alrededor de 6 meses tratando de buscar trabajo, tratando de encontrar una fuente que nos diera una estabilidad económica y no la conseguimos. En ese también estaba cerrado todas las instituciones, ¿verdad? De gobierno donde mi esposo podía sacar su documentación. Se nos acabó el poco de dinero que teníamos. Realmente pasamos una situación muy estresante, muy complicada. De hecho, nos pasó por la mente regresarnos a Estados Unidos mojados, en la misma desesperación de no tener donde una red de apoyo o alguien que nos ayudara a todo lo que necesitábamos hacer. Fue entonces cuando, buscando en internet, encontré un grupo que se llama Deportados Unidos en México y les pedí ayuda a ver en qué nos podían ayudar. Y ellos nos pusieron en contacto con Caminemos Juntos. Eso fue pues una bendición para nosotros. Caminemos Juntos. Nos contactamos con Samantha y ellos nos dijeron que nos podían ayudar a trasladarnos a San Miguel de Allende para poder hacer todo el trámite que necesitábamos de toda la documentación, tanto como la apostilla de mi niño, su doble nacionalidad, mi residencia, todos los documentos de mi esposo, el RFC, todos los documentos que se necesitan para trabajar. También nos dieron apoyo con vivienda mientras se hacía toda esa documentación y se encontraba empleo. Realmente ellos nos han apoyado enormemente. Si no fuera por ellos, nosotros no estuviéramos aquí. Nos dieron apoyo emocional, aparte de todo lo pues económico que se invirtió en la documentación, fueron como nuestra tabla de salvación. Sin ellos no hubiéramos podido nosotros establecernos aquí en México. Ya llevamos un año aquí. Gracias a Dios ya ellos cumplieron con todo lo que nos prometieron. Ya tenemos todos nuestros documentos. Mi esposo ya está trabajando. De hecho, yo también tengo un trabajo pequeño dentro de Caminemos Juntos como coordinadora de comunidad y realmente ellos sí son una red de apoyo y nosotros somos un vivo ejemplo de que nos apoyaron.
And now please join in singing hymn number 134, Our World is One World.
Sedona, will you please extinguish the chalice?
Sure.
Good job.
Although Sedona has extinguished the chalice flame, we hold its light within us to help us as we grow our compassion. And now we end our service with our postlude, Lean on Me, sung by Playing for Change.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. If we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long. You're gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, no one can fill those are your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. You just might have a problem that you don't understand. We all need somebody to lean on. rock and roll.